Good morning.
Oh, sorry, we go to the next slide, please.
Wonderful. All right. So glad to be here for representing the New Hampshire Food Bank today. So the Pulse on Hunger for January, distribution in pounds. Wow, 1,546,830. It's a lot. SNAP applications, 20. That's picking up. We're seeing things pick up, which is fantastic. That is, and 20 applications is equivalent to $22,230 for SNAP benefits. The local impact that has, local economic impact that has is $34,235. And the meal equivalent, 6,008 meals. And of course, year to date is the same because it's reporting January. SNAP outreach here at the New Hampshire Food Bank.
Oh, good.
If you want any of these materials that we have available, you can reach out to us on the SNAP Outreach Partner Resource page. To find that, just go to the New Hampshire Food Bank homepage and go to the SNAP page, go down to the bottom, and you'll find a link for SNAP Outreach Partner Resources. Or you can just take your phone right now and use that QR code and you can get there as well. But we have rack cards available. They all say the same thing. They're just geared towards different people via the picture on the front or the language. So there's Spanish in language, or the rest are English in general for older adults, for families with children. We also have posters that are available. Those are large posters, 18 by 24. And we have jar openers. And I'll tell you what, as you know this, people love jar openers, so they use them. I've had folks call us for application assistance who received jar openers in the mail. They're like, it's in my kitchen every day, so I thought I'd give you a call. They are effective. You can access our social media toolkit. That was down for a little while, but it is back up. So you can certainly use that. You can use that in your newsletters. You can obviously use it on your social media. So you can find creative uses for that. Our next SNAP Outreach workshop, we had one in February at the beginning of this month. Our next one is May 7th. Starts at noon. We're usually done by 1, but I put 1:30 in there just to give space for questions at the end if there are any questions. And if you do have any questions about any of this, please feel free to reach out to me, hjohnson@nhfoodbank.org.
Thanks, Heidi. And next, I'll pass it over to Colleen to talk about the local food access work group.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, just trying to start my video here. Hi. I'm Colleen Jennings. I work with the New Hampshire Food Alliance. Um, for those of you who don't know what that is, we work out of the University of New Hampshire in the College of Life Sciences and Agriculture. And I come to this group at the intersection of food access and local food access. And we are really excited to be starting a work group that is associated with the New Hampshire Food Access Coalition, called the Local Food Access Work Group. And basically, what that is going to be is a group of individuals, organizations who are really invested in collaborating to make local food more accessible to people of all incomes in New Hampshire. So obviously, many of you know about Great State Market Match and Double Up Food Bucks, but there are all many programs across the state in addition to the federal nutrition assistance programs and incentive programs that are trying to make local food accessible to everyone, both as a strategy for food security, but also to support our economy and our farmers. So we are going to be meeting for the first time on March 11th, and we'll meet monthly on the second Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And one of your fearless leaders today is our co-lead for that work group, Tara Westenheiser, along with Brendan Cornwell from the New Hampshire Food Bank and Shoshi Berry from the CareSearch Food Hub. So you can scan that QR code to join. I'll put the link in the chat as well. Um, and yeah, I really hope some of you will join us in this work group. And I think I have another slide. Yeah. So in addition, it's actually related. Our upcoming event that we host every year, the New Hampshire Food System Statewide Gathering, is coming up on April 10th. Early bird registration is open right now, and the local food access work group will have a breakout session at the gathering. So we would love for you all to join us for that and for the rest of the day. There's going to be a ton of great sessions, both work group related for the New Hampshire Food and Ag Strategic Plan, but also some skill building workshops, a great lunch, and a lot of time for networking with each other and meeting our food system friends. So I hope you'll again join us. You can scan to register there. I'll put it in the chat as well. And if you have any questions, I'll put my email in the chat also. You can reach out to me directly.
Thanks, Colleen. And that is all of the updates we have from our program partners. But if anyone has anything they want to share with the group, feel free to come off mute or put it in the chat, and we'll pause for a minute to hear from you all. All right. Next, we'll move along to coalition updates. And I think we're going to send it back to Heidi to talk about the SNAP coalition.
Great. We would love to have anyone who is involved at all with SNAP to attend the SNAP Coalition meeting. So we meet monthly, the third Wednesday of the month at 10 o'clock. Our themes are SNAP policy and advocacy, SNAP application and eligibility, and SNAP outreach. So just for example, this year, since September, what was it? In September, we focused on college students. Ray Burke gave a presentation on SNAP and college students. And then in October, we were talking about the upcoming changes that would be implemented and the government shutdown. November and December, we were talking about more about the implementation of the SNAP changes. January, Laura gave us some information on advocacy and how we can be involved with that. This last month in February, Brian from SNAP E&T gave us a presentation on that as an opportunity for folks who have to meet the new ABOD work requirements. Actually, they're not new, they're just more people who have to meet those. So we talk about very specific topics. Each time we have a very specific presentation that is really helpful in understanding the changing landscape. So we'd love to invite you guys to come and do that. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, and we go from there. So we'll put you on the list, the invitation list. Again, that's the third Wednesday of the month. We start at 10. We run through, we are open, same thing as with the SNAP Outreach Workshop, through 11:30, just in case there's extra questions and things to cover. So yes, please join us.
Thanks, Heidi. I'm now going to pass it over to Jessica to talk about the Nutrition Action Research Network, or the NARN work group.
Thanks, Tara. How are you guys doing? So the Nutrition Access Research Network has been active again. We have a project that's a crossover project with the Nutrition and Health Equity Work Group around engaging people with lived experience to assess nutrition access. And as a part of providing information to the New Hampshire Food Alliance's strategic plan, we looked at food access. And one thing that was missing across the board was the lived experience, or the voice of people with lived experience, and why or why not they're participating in federal nutrition programs, and how they would solve that via policy, systems, or environmental change. So the Nutrition Action Research Network um, group has some members who've been doing some research around this in different areas. And so we're all coming together to collaborate and do a pilot study in the Monadnock, North Country, and Southern New Hampshire region. We have 5 out of 6 of our community consultants hired, and we're still looking for one more person with lived experience from the North Country to participate from now until the end of June as a paid position. So I'll just put that plug out there, and I'll throw my email in the chat with a little information. And our next meeting for the larger group, the research study group, is Monday, March 2nd from 3 to 4 p.m. And you can email me if you'd like to learn more and get involved. But we'll be working to engage people with lived experience in the design of the study, and then engaging people through survey and focus group collection, and then again, working, the whole group includes people with lived experience at the table to talk about like how do we analyze the data we've collected, and then what are the solutions that come out of that. And in the project, that's phase 1. Phase 2 of the project will go into engaging our policymakers similarly, and with people with lived experience to co-design policy changes that will help improve access to SNAP, WIC, and school meals.
Thanks, Jessica. Next, I will pass it over to Roanne, except I don't think she's here. Sarah, are you able
I can
Thanks.
speak to this one. So we have always an opportunity for updates from each of the regional food access coalitions. And Roanne shared this information from the Monadnock Food Access Alliance. We are specifically focusing on SNAP outreach and bringing together people on a project around SNAP outreach as far as the work plan in 2026. And then just exactly what Jessica was talking about, working with community consultants who will help design and implement a pilot federal nutrition program client experience study with the NARN that Jessica was just describing. And through this process, also help develop community boards to advise the local food access coalitions, in this case, Monadnock Food Access Alliance. So we're really looking forward to getting started on that project and continuing to develop it with the Monadnock Food Access Alliance, even after this phase is finished in June. So exciting work there.
Thanks, Sarah. And now I'll pass it over to Hannah to talk about her updates.
Yeah, hi everybody. Hannah Flanders here with the Kearsarge Food Hub. We are, getting this local, hyper-local coalition here in the Kearsarge region off the ground, Feed Kearsarge, or continuing to build it out. And my main update for us today is that we're hosting a food security summit on April 18th from 9 to 3 at our local regional high school. And I just wanted to plug it. Would love to have anybody on this call present for this event. We have an exhibitor fair that's on a sliding scale. So like if you want to come have a table and can't afford the cost or what have you, there's no barrier to entry due to financial ability. So I would love if anybody here from any food access coalition, the New Hampshire Food Bank, I've reached out to some folks via email, could come have a presence and help share your amazing resources. The goal of the event, really, the 2 primary goals is relationship building and educating folks from across sectors. And so, Colleen, as you mentioned, for your working group, which I'm really excited to be a part of, a big role that the Food Hub is playing in kind of organizing food security efforts is to introduce the importance of local food and local food systems and regional food. So I'm kind of thinking about how to use this food security summit to create a goal or a set of goals for our coalition. In my view, as I'm kind of learning about all of this, somewhere in the intersection of hunger relief, food and nutrition security, and local food and regional food systems and like trying to understand how all those things work together to achieve our goals. So I'm really excited for the day. It's going to be awesome. Sarah's going to be there. New Hampshire Hunger Solutions is going to be there. We're going to have some great presenters, some great breakout discussions. So I'm going to pop my email in the chat. So if you want to get in touch with me directly, we have opportunities to host a breakout discussion. We have some planned, but if you have something in mind, I'm totally open to chatting and would love to see you as an exhibitor or otherwise just attend. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Hannah. And now we'll open it up to see again if anyone has any questions or wants to provide any additional updates.
And I'm stopping share for a moment so that I can reorganize my screens. And be able to share some links when we get into the next piece. Any questions or updates in the meantime? Great. Coming about. It's always the technology. All right, everyone seeing this? Our discussion questions, our slideshow? Okay, excellent. All right, and just to wrap it up before we move on to the next piece, these are our upcoming local and statewide coalition meetings that are on our radar, our schedule. Here's a nice map that kind of shows where we have coalition representation. And some of them are regular times. Some of them are very specific dates because they meet quarterly. All right. So next on the docket, I'm going to bring Finn to talk about our state and national food and nutrition security policy updates.
Thank you, Sarah. So hi everyone. If we haven't met you already, I'm Finn Shea. I am the very new Director of Communications and Grassroots Policy at New Hampshire Hunger Solutions. So just kind of wanted to give you a quick update on our legislative priorities and where this legislation is in the process. I think a lot of you have heard this already, but there have been a few updates since we last spoke. So would you go to the next slide? Thank you. So the first update is on bills that we are supporting, specifically related to SNAP administrative cost, and just to reload that the federal law HR1 has shifted 75% of SNAP administrative costs to the state. It was previously a 50-50 split between state and federal, and so really want to make sure that we're that the state is raising and appropriating the new costs to run the SNAP program and keep it going. SB 603, which is the Senate bill related to this, was recommended to pass, which is fantastic news, and continuing to fight for that going forward. HB 1750, which is the same bill on the House side. We heard the executive session was on February 20th. As of this morning, we don't have any information about the committee recommendation, but we hopefully will soon, and we'll update you once we have that. Next slide, please. Amazing. Thank you. So again, bills that we're supporting. 517 is the bill that raises the eligibility for free meals to 200% of the federal poverty level, again, was voted ought to pass by the committee, which is awesome. 1574, which extends free and reduced lunch for special education students up to age 22. Referral was waived, so that's going to go to a floor vote, and the full house will vote on that. So continuing to track those and make sure that we are staying on the ground with legislators about those bills as well. So next slide, please. And let me know if I'm talking too fast, because I tend to do that. Okay, thank you, Sarah. Especially on Zoom. It's very easy. Last thing, just wanted to mention in terms of making sure that we're supporting summer EBT. So the bill on the House side would allow the DOE to collect student addresses, share them with DHHS for the purpose of distributing summer electronic benefit transfer. So making sure that students still have enough to eat during the summer. The hearing was on January 14th. We haven't yet heard anything about that, but again, hoping that we will soon, and that we'll be able to keep that going. And I think Sarah just put this in the chat, thank you, but you can, and I'll mention this again, but stay, up to date on advocacy information and current policy updates on our website, or signing up for action alerts. It's a good way to keep abreast of what's going on and make sure that we are keeping you updated. Next slide, please. Thank you. So few bills that are top of mind this week. One hearing was yesterday and one is actually this afternoon. We're hearing attacks on SNAP and SNAP restrictions, as I'm sure you all have probably heard a lot about. A couple bills in House and Senate that would limit what SNAP recipients can buy, roll back SNAP eligibility, and bring back asset tests, and just impose burdens on DHHS and the state and on families. 1797, the hearing is scheduled for this afternoon. It actually is 1 p.m. It got pushed back due to the storm the other day, but we'll see what happens this afternoon. So it should be today at 1 p.m. Would really encourage you to sign in to oppose 1797. Would be really devastating for families, impose huge costs to the state. So wanted to kind of give an immediate update on that and immediate action on that. If you are able to, please sign in to oppose the bill. You can submit testimony. Would encourage you to do that today, although you do have a couple days to be able to still contact the committee and voice opposition for these bills. Also looking at 1773, the hearing was yesterday. Very similar, except just focused on SNAP restrictions. So hoping that we can work with the committee and have that expedient to legislate, but not really sure yet how that one is going to go. There's a lot of questions on funding, both on state and federal level. So working to make sure that folks are as educated as possible. So if we could just go to the next slide, just quickly. I know we've talked about this before, but I'm just going to say it again because I will never stop saying it, that we are really strongly opposing SNAP restrictions. On the surface, I think these bills are framed as, improving, nutrition for folks. But the reality is that SNAP restrictions don't improve diet quality. They don't improve health outcomes. They completely ignore, the real drivers of poor diets, which is, insufficient income to buy healthy food, lack of proximity to full service grocery stores. What we should be focusing on instead is incentives like New Hampshire Market Match, and these incentives work really well. So can we, build those up instead? The other thing is that, diets of SNAP participants, excuse me, I need another cup of coffee, clearly. Mirror diets of other low-income households who are not in the program, and kind of prove that the problem is not the SNAP card. It's barriers of poverty, and restrictions do nothing to address those barriers. It also, restrictions undermine autonomy. They increase stigma at the checkout line. Stigma is already a huge reason why a huge percentage of eligible older folks especially are not enrolled in SNAP. And very personal, that includes my grandparents. Due to stigma, they will not enroll in the SNAP program. So really, really important that we don't continue to increase stigma for folks about what they're buying. Next slide, please. Thank you. The other thing, huge cost for state and retailers. these restrictions just add this huge burden to families and administrative staff and state budget, come with a huge kind of unnecessary price tag for retailers as well, who would need to spend thousands of dollars to upgrade systems, and this would, have an impact on all of us, and they would have, forced to make the choice either to raise prices for everyone and as we've heard, more often decide just not to accept SNAP at all, which would be a huge problem for not just for the local economy, but for potentially creating food deserts in New Hampshire, especially in rural New Hampshire. So just kind of to cap that off, want to again note to please sign up for newsletters and action alerts, and to sign in to oppose HB 1797. That's at 1 p.m. this afternoon. And yeah, would ask you to please sign in to oppose that bill. And also wanted to note that we are available to give presentations on food security and advocacy presentations for any other groups. So if you or someone else that would be interested, please just shoot me an email and we can put that in the chat, and would be really happy to set that up and come talk to folks. So I think I'm gonna pause for a moment in case folks have any questions or want to talk about this a little bit more before we get into federal update. Yeah, and Joanne, that's a great point. The cost of retailers may resonate with our legislators who continue to underestimate the community impact of these types of bills. That is absolutely true, and that is what we've been finding in these hearings. Is that's what our legislators are really focusing on and more worried about, is the cost to retailers, and yeah, making sure that we don't kind of crash local economies is I think the major worry that they would have about these bills, particularly when it comes to SNAP restrictions. That's a really good point. Okay, so very quick federal policy update. Want to direct you to the action page on the FRAC website. So they're calling for action on repealing SNAP cuts, on reinstating the USDA hunger report, and supporting the modern WIC Act as well. So really trying to reverse problems that were created by HR1 on the federal level. They also, if you move to the next slide, Sarah, are running a social media campaign that we wanted to mention about why they love SNAP. So would really encourage people to check that out and share resources. It's lovely, and really important information, and I think a great way to put this information out there. So I would encourage you to check that out and share what they are putting out there. So want to just talk briefly about SNAP cuts and HR1 that will impact child nutrition, and especially want to talk about this. I'm going to toss it to Trisha in a moment, who's going to be talking about school meals. And it's really important as we work to ensure that SNAP is not restricted. Cuts to SNAP and cuts to Medicaid are going to ripple into WIC and school meals, and really threaten children's health and learning and ability to learn. These cuts would mean that hundreds of thousands of infants and young children risk losing automatic eligibility for WIC, and it jeopardizes students' direct certification and automatic eligibility for free school meals. And losing that eligibility would mean that thousands of kids in New Hampshire would lose what is often their most consistent meal of the day. So I'm going to toss it over to Trisha, and please let me know if you have any questions. You can always email me after the fact as well. I'm very happy to have a conversation. So thank you.
Hi everyone, thanks. My name is Trisha. I'm the Child Nutrition Manager here at New Hampshire Hunger Solutions. So I just wanted to update and talk about the School Breakfast Challenge this year. So if you're not familiar, the School Breakfast Challenge is an initiative of Hunger Solutions to increase the school breakfast participation in schools. We work with schools statewide. Anyone can sign on to the School Breakfast Challenge. We work with principals, school nurses, and sometimes directly the food service directors. And we are marketing and promoting the school breakfast program. And when schools sign on, they sign on at a different tier. So tier one would be that they're doing some nudges every month. Tier two, they're building a school breakfast team, whether that's child, it could be a child group, like school student council. We've seen it work really well in. And then the tier three, those are schools that are looking to implement breakfast after the bell. So we are working with the schools directly to come up with the goals. And one of those goals is always to just increase the awareness of the school breakfast program. And doing so, we have ready to go resources that market and promote SNAP as a way to qualify for free and reduced meals. And we also work in tailor specific needs, whether it's marketing towards parents in some schools or the students themselves in other schools. And we're looking to increase the amount of students that eat breakfast as compared to lunch. So I have some examples of some schools here. Portsmouth Middle School is at 72%, and they offer a second chance breakfast, which is a type of breakfast after the bell. And so we're looking to have that number as close to 70% as possible. So we're working with Winnisquam School and Beach Street School in Manchester to try and get that number closer to 60%. Next slide. These are the partners of the School Breakfast Challenge. So we work closely with UNH Extension, New England Dairy, Hannaford, and Cliff. Within the last couple years, Cliff has offered some books and breakfast events, which have been a really big hit, and incorporating that learning piece and showing how school breakfast promotes learning and all the benefits of learning and growing from eating school breakfast. Next slide. So this year we have 53 schools participating in the School Breakfast Challenge. We have 26 schools at tier one. So they are receiving the newsletters and they are implementing breakfast nudges from the nudge toolkit that they will have ready to go. And tier two, we have 9 schools. So those are schools that are building breakfast teams or integrating it into their wellness committee. So that the idea is that it's not falling all on one person. So the more times and the more different people that students are hearing about school breakfast, it really makes it more successful. And then tier three, we have 18 schools that are offering breakfast after the bell or are looking to implement breakfast after the bell. We have 2 schools that are kicking off a pilot of breakfast after the bell during school breakfast week. Next slide. And this is how schools often celebrate that they've joined the School Breakfast Challenge. The National School Breakfast Week is the first week of March. So it is a difficult time sometimes for schools to come back from February break and celebrate. So this year we have schools celebrating the entire month of March. Some of the celebrations, I posted a social media post that one school's doing that is having that books for breakfast. Another is a flyer for a mystery breakfast. So the school staff is dressing up as the theme, which this year is the Quest for School Breakfast. So every year, the theme for School Breakfast Week is decided by the SNA, which is the School Nutrition Association. And this has been a really great time to engage students, engage parents, and celebrate. So some examples would be that the schools will change the names of the menu items. They'll offer new menu items. They will invite legislators to come and see. We have that happening in Nashua, and they're going to also be piloting a grab and go cart. Next slide. We are also active with the School Nutrition Advisory Group, SNAC. Myself and Riona operate that, and it's been a really great group this year. And it's made up of mostly food service directors. We have food service directors that are part of the School Breakfast Challenge and that aren't part of the School Breakfast Challenge. We meet quarterly on Zoom, and it's been a space for food service directors to come and get feedback from other food service directors, and they've also provided us feedback and data in legislation that affects school meals. So we've had food service directors write testimony and provide examples and give us numbers for what certain legislation is going to look like in their school. So if you have any relationships with any food service directors or business administrators, we'd love to have more people engaged in that group, and you can reach out to myself or Riona. Thanks.
Stopping share for a moment, and I did see that Tori had a question in the chat. If you could share any observations you have about why non-participating schools aren't signing on, or what's your experience been around that kind of thing?
I think the schools that aren't signing on is just because we might not have a relationship with them. It usually kind of has required whether it's coming from like the coalition or any other group, just talking about the school breakfast challenge. So I think my experience has been making that first contact with the school. Schools we know, of course, each school is different, whether who the maybe cheerleader might be for each school district. So sometimes it's the school nurse, sometimes it's a principal. We're working with one school right now, it's the superintendent. So I think making that first initial contact.
Do we have more questions, comments for Trisha? Amazing, amazing work. Go back to sharing my screen again. And a little ahead of schedule, we're reaching the end of our time together. So this is just a little overview of who we are. Tara and I are here. Amy Holler is on vacation this week, but we are the backbone team. And our next gathering is the same day of the month next month. And Tara, do you have more check-ins, more reminders?
I think next month we're gonna kind of focus around National Nutrition Month. And we're gonna give a short presentation, or the WIC team is gonna give a short presentation on their updated food package. So lots to look forward to for next month. And we're happy to stay on for a little bit if anybody has any questions. But otherwise, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next month.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody.